Today I am delighted to be joined by my guest, Mr. Simon Gates of Opening the Gates. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you, Mr. Mintz. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I'm really good. We were just discussing off camera there what it was we were going to focus on because there's so much that you're doing and you're involved in at the moment. It seems like every conference I look at, Simon Gates is top of the billing. Um, let's concentrate on the messages that you are delivering to agents then when you're going out and seeing them. What's your focus at the moment?
Well, I think to start with, on what you just said there, I try and practice what I preach when I speak to estate agents, is you've got to be everywhere, be consistent and hang around where your audience is hanging around before they realize they need you, which is why you keep seeing me popping up at every conference, because if you work in a B2B world of supplying to estate agents, you'd be foolish not to go to events where there's hundreds, if not 1,000, 2,000 estate agents being there. Social media is all well and good and doing loads of video content, but this is a people business, right? So you've got to get in the same venues and have
100%.
conversations. So
So that's where you're at. So and the conversations that you're having with those agents then at the conferences, obviously we're living in a very kind of fast moving technological world when it comes to AI and all the other mod cons that tend to take up a lot of stage time at conferences. Your take on things is slightly different.
yeah, I'll probably sit in the center, I would say, that I'm neither for or against that. I know this is so like overused and I feel like being sick as I say it out of my mouth, David, but agents not going to get replaced by AI. They're going to get replaced by agents using AI. The classic line. I hate saying that, but it's true. And it's all there to assist, enhance, augment so that we can have more conversations in living rooms over a cup of tea with little old Doris.
Yeah.
Again, it's a people business. And I think that I'm pretty sure I read it on a newsletter from Josh Fegan, who obviously is going to be speaking at a Kerfuffle conference. I think he said something along the lines of relationships transcend all market conditions. So at the end of the day, if you've got like amazing tech, amazing AI, but I am a bit of a tosser in the living room and I don't know what I'm talking about, it doesn't matter what tech or AI I've got behind the scenes, I'm not winning that business, right?
No, 100%. I think that whole adage of people by people, right? So if you are a tosser in the living room, you've got to be a really nice and likable tosser to cut through to that audience.
Simon Whale.
Simon Whale. I knew we'd get to him eventually. Our industry is populated with lovely, likable rogues like Simon Whale. But when you're sort of talking to agents, and I'm particularly because we do see you everywhere, so there is that sort of sense that everybody knows that you're out there helping agents. For those people that haven't had the opportunity to either sort of hear you speak live or to go on one of your courses and your sessions, what is your focus? How is it that you use your skills to help agents?
I think the key thing that people would say that they know me for would be understanding and utilizing data. Because when you've got like information that is readily available from Rightmove, Zoopla, 28, the list goes on. There's so much great data out there that agents can use in the living room to their advantage, but it's not a super sexy subject, right? You
Yeah,
kind of, back in the day, you taught this is how to build rapport with someone, find a set of golf clubs in the garage and say, oh, I play golf as well. It's like, I think the world has moved on from that sort of 80s sales bullshit rapport kind of thing. But like if someone says, oh, I want to go on at a higher price, I want to go on at 510 rather than 500. If you can sit in someone's living room and say, well, according to Rightmove, you get 16% more views on your property by being on a minimum maximum price point, it would make more sense to go on at 500. When I speak to agents, they're like, I didn't know that. Well, I'll be giving that advice going forward.
yeah.
It's like simple things like that. I'm not reinventing wheel. Nothing is rocket science, but I think it's having a bird's eye view of a business because we both know how busy it is day to day in a state agency. Just having someone to come in, helicopter view, and sort of say, look, here's a few things that you're missing. And I think the data piece is a huge one.
And so that data piece is sort of largely being leveraged by valuers in the living room to sort of substantiate either their success or the placement of the properties in the market and giving advice to the owners there? Are people also using it for marketing and sort of nurture campaigns and stuff like that?
I would say people do use it in print marketing, video content, social media, but you hit nail on the head with your first point is that most agents are saying, oh, mate, I use that in the living room. Like
Yeah,
when I'm speaking to buyers and sellers, like I'm confident to say that message, like the 16% more views. But it's even like knowing the specific number because they like the agent will know that you get more views by being on a correct price point, but they're like, I never knew that was the number. It's like, well, I'm not making it up. Rightmove have reported that that is a number,
yeah.
but you can go in now. I know that the industry has a love-hate relationship with Rightmove, but the public love it, right? So you're not
And
the
that's
big
all that counts at the end of the day.
100%. You're not the big bad wolf. You're saying, look, Rightmove, and the public can be like, oh my God, I love Rightmove. And it's Rightmove said you get 16% more views. Not me, but because I've got my finger on the pulse and I know what's going on in the market, I'm recommending to you that you don't go on at 510, you go on at 500.
And so it's been, I mean, you mentioned there the old sort of, you spotted somebody's golf clubs in the garage there, and then you sort of use that to build a rapport. By the way, I'm somewhere in between. I think that that's still very important. I think
Mm.
there's person to person details do matter, and people like you to sort of pay attention to who they are and what and their journey, if you like, of what they want to try and achieve. I think your point on the data and sort of positioning on price is also really important. I think they need a bit of both.
Yeah, I think so. On your point there, I agree. It's I'm not a fan of the 80s classic false rapport. Like genuinely like building rapport with someone. I think we've gone so far, like actually looking the other side with the power of social media and video content, where you'll get a seller saying, "Oh, I saw that you play golf on your Instagram."
Yeah.
It's like the seller is building rapport with the agent, not the other way around. That's a great position to be in. And funny enough, a lot of the agents I work with tend to be ones who play golf and like to talk football. Funny that because I talk about that a lot on in my content. So it's like they're building rapport with me. So
Yeah,
I'm not
so it works, and that's kind of like funnily when we came on this call initially before we started recording, I said to you, "Hey Simon, where's all your Liverpool stuff, and where's
great.
your Only Fools and Horses stuff? Because that's normally on your walls. That's what I know about you because I've watched so many of your recordings. Now you're preparing your house for sale. Actually, you're becoming a customer. Actually,
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
not? I was going to ask you, are you tempted not to sell your own house this time?"
No, I think when I sold my last house and bought this one, I was still a practicing estate agent at that time, and I don't think people believe me when I say this, but I'd like to think I was actually a really good client. I was completely hands off. I just left
Yeah.
it to my colleagues and went, "You crack on." I knew what to do to get it ready to sell, but I was like, "I don't want to get involved because you turn from a logical estate agent into an emotional seller, right?"
So do you know what? I've sold my own house and I'm now doing estate agency for about 30 years. And I think that when I came to sell my house, I'd done thousands of viewings, thousands of negotiations. But when somebody's in your hallway, pins you to a wall and goes, "What's the lowest price you're going to take for this house?" And you need to come up with a response. All of a sudden, all those negotiation skills that you employ for everybody else kind of just evaporate. And you're right. And that's because of that emotional response, isn't it?
And I think that story you just shared there is super valuable for any agents listening or watching this who have bought and or sold their own property and share that story. And it's like that's why you should pay a professional to
To
be
do.
emotionally removed to do it for you. Because
And
when I sold my house, my colleague got me £7,000 more than what was my bottom line. So he got me what I needed to make the move happen. But the way I taught him, he went back and he got me more money. I didn't tell him to do that. But he's like, Gatesy, you got this figure. I've negotiated a couple more times. I've got you an extra 7 grand. It's like, sweet, I'll buy you a pint.
so, Simon, let us peek behind the curtain a little bit. This time round, selling your property, what were you looking for in your agent?
Um, The thing I was looking for in my agent would be who has the highest success rate, sells a property in the quickest time, and gets the best price. I don't,
Stats, pure and simple.
Surprising that, right? But that, but that is like I think when you're instructing a estate agent, why you're instructing a estate agent, you want them to get you moved. So the most important thing to first look at is who has the highest success rate in my area. Then
Yeah.
after that, it's like, well, I wouldn't like it to take ages. So how quickly do they do it? And then, well, they might be good at selling it and doing it quickly, but will they get a good figure? Look at those three things and establish an estate agent. And that's kind of the benefits, let's say. A lot of agents are feature led, but then if I reverse engineer it, I look at the features, I go, well, they're very active on social media,
Yeah.
they're in the community, they do video tours. So I'm like, I can see why they have the success that they do because they're not just sticking it on Rightmove and waiting for the phone to ring.
So you've been very active on social media recently. You've had the digital sparks glow up. We've seen you strutting your stuff down the high street, being followed by cameras. Mr. Simon Gates, can we just get you a bit? That stuff is all good. And you would say that's kind of general. I'd say it's filler content, but it is pitching to an audience for general awareness, isn't it? It's not you sat opposite the camera going, this is what you need to do in order to achieve X, Y, Z. It's more kind of, this is Gatesy as a person, this is how he ranks certain things. It's an interesting sort of foray, I think, that we see a lot of suppliers doing. And it's to sort of make them a bit more personable. Do you think there's still a place for agents to do that?
Yeah, 100%. I was sat down having a coffee with an agent local to me the other day. And I sort of ran through that content pyramid, if that's the right language that you were just saying. I kind of have four things I think when it comes to my content, which I think is translatable in any industry. One is behind the scenes. Like we love seeing behind the scenes, particularly in this industry. People, oh, I've always wanted to be an estate agent.
Yeah.
And you think like behind the scenes as well. You imagine, I don't know how long it's been going for now, but if you imagine 20 years ago, I'm like a high flying TV producer. And I come to you, the boss, and go, Deb, I've got this idea. We're going to film other people at home watching people. So we're gonna watch people watching others on TV. You go, that's a stupid idea. And
Yeah.
that's Gogglebox, and look how well that's done. So I think behind the scenes is a really good one. Education, so all that data that I've been talking about, because I'm on a mission to try and become the most useful person for UK estate agents to follow. Inspirational, so I try and share some of my rags to riches story, and then entertainment along the way as well. So poking a bit of fun at myself. So the arms folded AI funny thing where you had your moment with that, right? I was quite happy to play along with that and poke fun at myself a bit within reason. So yeah, behind the scenes, education, inspiration, entertainment. That's my sort of four pillars to my content.
I like to think that the arms folded, sort of you looking moody thing, it caught the public eye. It was a movement all of its own. You got behind it. We helped you with it. I loved it. It was the best week of my life.
Do you know what's funny though is that you sort of made the jokes about my mum on that, and my best performing post is a picture of me with my
With
mum.
your mum. Yeah.
It's like so basically, David's right. All my content should actually be me and my mum.
And what a wonderful lady she is as well. We learned a little bit behind the scenes there about your mum as well. So just going back to you mentioned rags to riches. I might not have heard this part of your story. Do you want to share a little bit of that with me in a nutshell?
Um, so it's tongue in cheek, rags to riches. I was an estate agent. Sam Hunter groomed me uh, and brought me over to the dark side of prop tech at the start of 2020. And yeah, he sort of said to me on day one, "What do you want to be doing?" And I said, "Like in 5 years' time, I'd love to be on stages speaking at conferences." And then, like the pinnacle for me last year, speaking on, I think you introduced me speaking on stage at Wembley
Wembley, yeah.
after Josh Vegan. Like, no one can take that away from me. And without going too deep, when I left a state agency, I was told by my boss, it's a big wide world out there. You'll fail miserably in London. You'll be back like desperately pleading to get your job in 6 months' time. I haven't done too bad since 6 years later.
No, you get around, I'd say that. I mean but it's a leap, isn't it? So you've got this sort of we live in this universe of lots of sort of self-employed agents as well. Let's put it this way, not everybody that goes alone makes it. Some people are not designed to work as like solo, if you like. It takes a lot of drive, it takes a lot of ambition, and you need to be kind of structured and focused to get where you want. A bit of luck and a few connections along the way help. But it's not for everybody, is it?
No, I think on what you just said there, structure, discipline, doing the hard work when no one's watching, and showing up in the right rooms at the right time with the right people. Like to use the Kerfuffle conference as an example, I think I got 5 or 6 clients off the back of that talk, but it didn't happen by chance that I spoke at the Kerfuffle conference.
You
I
begged us.
You begged me, don't be like that. I spoke at Sean Newman's Estate Agent Success Summit last year,
Yeah.
and Whaley was in attendance. And he said to me after that, "Do you want to talk at our conference?" So you must have been really desperate, or he thought I did a good job and wanted me to go chat on stage there. And I must have done something right because I'm back again for round 2 this year.
Well, yeah, I mean, I overheard Whaley use the absolutely wanky phrase, let's put success on rinse and repeat. And so what he's done is this year, he's invited yourself back. Obviously, Josh Fegan's coming back, and Toby Martin and one or two other, Claire Yates is joining us again. And obviously, people enjoyed it last year. Your focus this year, I mean, we touched on it briefly earlier. I think you were the conference is also talking about trust. The veracity index is something that is brought up time and time again. Simon Ledbetter loves a good old survey around those sort of feelings as well. Do you think the climate for agents is getting better or worse out there in terms of how much we're trusted by the public? And actually feeding into what you do, being able to demonstrate using data and things that are factual, is that helping agents to build their reputation with the public?
Yeah, because I think estate agency is one of the least trusted professions, right? And funnily enough, the only time a homeowner trusts an estate agent is when they tell them the house is worth more money than what it actually is.
Yeah.
It's the only time. But I think my whole mission of trying to become the most useful person to follow for UK estate agents is that if I am useful to follow and they do the job brilliantly and home movers get the right outcome, the trust level will go up. And it all relates back to my first day in the state agency where I asked for advice on work experience. And I said, "What's the best piece of advice you can give me on my work experience?" And the lady said, "Always be honest." And at 16 years old, I thought that's shit advice. Like, obviously, always be honest. But then as years go by, you go, wow, 16-year-old Simon didn't realize how badly thought of the industry was. My
Yeah.
parents did not want me to go into it. They're trying to push me toward politics or to go and work in law. So they thought
Wow.
estate agency
Okay.
was worse than those two. And then got introduced at a new golf club a few years later, and they said, shiny suit, can't trust him. What does he do for a living? They said, not another estate agent. So I think there's kind of been this seed planted all those years ago of I'm really proud of this industry. I know there's amazing people in it who deliver brilliant outcomes, very charitable, very involved in the community. And yeah, I think my step over to prop tech and joining Home Search was try and have a bigger reach and rather than just the buyers and sellers in Newport Pagnell.
Yeah.
And I felt by doing the podcast and going and doing my own thing, I could have an even bigger reach from what I had at Home Search. So one step at a time, trying to improve the what the public think of the industry.
So one step at a time, you've come this far. What's next for Simon Gates?
What is
What do
next?
you want to achieve? What's on your bucket list or your fuck it list in terms of what you'd like to get done? If you could do anything and there were no consequences, what is the
Hmm.
one like zero fear move you would do business wise?
So I wouldn't do this, but there is a video that I need to actually release on socials where the question is literally that. And I was like, start my own estate agency business.
Right. And
Like
and and the reason you wouldn't do that is
I just love what I do so much now. I love helping agents. I love the different hats that I wear now. And when you said about, you've done thousands of viewings and valuations and sales,
Yeah.
kind of does it get me out of bed anymore? I'm not sure, but I definitely jump out of bed, doing what I do now. I think it's an interesting one. It obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing. Knowing what I know now, when I left a state agency, when I did quit in January 2020, I wouldn't have gone to home search. I would have jumped on the self-employed bandwagon. I'm not sure I've said that publicly before, so you got an exclusive there.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
would,
Okay.
if I could go back in time, I'd go and be a self-employed estate agent, 100%,
What
and
was it
not.
even a thing back in like in 2020? It wasn't a mainstream sort of
No,
choice,
I
was it?
mean, Adam had launched EXP a few months before. Keller Williams had been around for a little bit, but
Yeah.
no, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't the juggernaut that it is now, and hence why it wasn't something that even crossed my mind.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for a job. It just so happened Sam went, "Do you want a job?" And he caught me on a day where I was a bit pissed off with my boss, and I said, "Yeah, all right."
That's how all good business decisions are made. But there is that sense. I mean, I read I think there were headlines yesterday and there were headlines today. Both of them centered around self-employed agents about their market share, but also about the success that they're having. And there was a sense that I think there was even some claims that they were experiencing lower fall-through rates and better results as a whole. It kind of stands to reason because you think, well, they've got absolute skin in the game. It really matters to them. They eat what they kill, and they have to keep killing it in order to make it rain. So, I mean, uh, are you convinced that that is the future of our industry, or is there space for both?
I think there's space for both because I work with all different shapes and sizes and models around the country, and doing the podcast, appearing on other podcasts, listening to podcasts, going to all these different conferences. I've learned there is very much more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah,
Like I know of, self-employed one-man band or one-woman band operations that are doing incredibly well and very profitable. And then you've got, I don't know, an organization doing £1 million revenue a year and can't make a profit. And
yeah,
you, from the outside looking in, you go, oh, look at that bedroom agent selling a few houses. Like, what are they doing? Yeah, on the other side, but then there are multi-branch organizations I know who are very, very profitable. There are some who charge very high fees and are very profitable, and there are some who charge very, very cheap fees and are profitable. So yeah, there's all different models out there, but if they've got the right people, the right culture, the right tech, the right marketing, that's the key ingredients, I think, to have success.
excellent. Well, I'm going to let you go. I know you've got lots on, and we're going to be seeing you at the conference, Kerfuffle in July. You're speaking are you back at the Estate Agency Success Summit this year? Are you there?
I am, yeah, 18th of June. I'm opening up again for Tom Panos. So I think Sean has spunked the whole budget once again on Tom and has gone, I'll get Simon to come and do it for a fiver.
50p for Gatesy, 50 grand for Tom
Yeah,
Panos. I
something
know
like
which
that.
I'd pay. But that's amazing. I mean, you jokingly said that, one of the highlights of your career is sort of effectively coming onto that stage after Josh Fegan at Wembley Stadium. But let's face it, Josh Fegan, Tom Panos, these are huge names in global real estate, if you like. But these are giants, and you're kind of following in their footsteps. It's pretty decent. I'd take that.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to Tom and Josh on podcasts for a decade, a dozen years. And, if you'd said to me in January 2020, you'd be on a stage, walking on after Josh Fegan or opening up for Tom Panos, I'd be like, like you're an idiot. But, you said earlier, there's some luck along the way, but you make your own luck. I've got in the right rooms. I've worked really, really hard. And I think what people know me for is relentless consistency. You said it, I keep turning up time and time and time again. So, yeah, as I say, success leaves clues and just kept consistent with trying to add value, expect nothing in return, and here we are.
And on that beautiful note, thank you very much for everything you're doing for the industry. I'm going to let you get on with your day. Thank you.
Thanks, David.